Itagat kara jita pala engineer KASS MASHINANI betuna tan bora ne gida stagi meeting about engineer Shammah Kiteme in that ko barchinga ngachari not presidency in retan go bot not an intelligent like engineers in emit not an nebo Kenya. Get a start conversation not an welcome back, engineer. Good to have you on the show. And we've looked at the importance of engineering. You know, you've given a good illustration of electrical engineer. When there's a problem with the road, you know, we talk about engineer. Actually, about life is about engineering. And what is the future of engineering in Kenya?
Good question. Thank you very much, Stanley.
Yeah.
Very bright. I will tell you with a lot of confidence that the future of engineering in Kenya is very bright because we are very keen on industrialization. If you listen to the past regimes, they have been very keen on infrastructure. We have seen the current regime very keen on affordable housing and manufacturing, universal healthcare, and pretty much everything they touch on as a key focus and deliverable for their mandate and that were given by Kenyans. It has engineering element, whether affordable housing, whether digital superhighway, whether universal healthcare. You are going to have electrical engineers there. You are going to have biomedical engineers there. You are going to have structural engineers there. You are going to have mechanical engineers there. And this is not only here. We know Africa is the fastest growing. It's still virgin, and so it's where the future of the world is facing in terms of growth. We know other continents, you know, Europe has literally stopped growing, and so the future of engineering is very bright. And what are we doing? We are making sure that the policies in place through advocacy favor investment in enterprise development in terms of giving incentives to entrepreneurs. And we have very many engineers who are entrepreneurial in nature. We're looking for partnerships to make sure that even in situations where engineers have ideas, they can invest and run a successful entrepreneurship engagements. And we are also investing in capacity building of engineers. We are making sure that they are adept in the modern concepts that are going to define our future economies, whether machine learning, whether artificial intelligence, and the entire space. We're equipping them with the necessary skills so that they are going to be ready to face the future. And that's why we have said our concept of the future is that we must leap into the future through making sure that there's leadership in place. And leadership becomes very critical. John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. We must create an enabling environment. We usually have an annual convention, and we are trying to make it a forum for dealing with tangible issues affecting the economy, where our discussions are not just discussions for the sake or academic or theoretical. We are having real conversations that are going to transform the economy, and we actually contribute in setting the agenda of the country. We're also making sure that the place of the engineer in the infrastructure sector is entrenched. Yes. The right leadership is provided for so that the economy gets the right infrastructure investment, and we do not have infrastructure that is not safe for the population. We do not have buildings collapsing. We do not have bridges collapsing. We do not have roads that are done and they don't have the right furniture and all that. So, and we're also making sure that we create that enabling environment for those engineers who are entrepreneurial and they want to invest in enterprises. They can thrive, they can grow, and be part of transforming the economy. And partly that has to be done through very aggressive advocacy that makes sure that the society generally appreciates the role of the engineer, and that role is respected, it's entrenched, and part of that involves also legislative efforts, and we are very ready and willing, and going forward, we are going to push efforts at Omnibus Bill in Parliament to make sure that various acts of Parliament that affects the practice of engineering, they are enhanced and they are improved. But also very important, is building partnerships that are lasting. We have already indicated that we partner with other organizations, international and local, and we are building a very strong collaborative effort between academia and the industry, and we will be intermediaries to make sure that the academia and the industry were able to merge and come up with fantastic ideas that are going to transform the economy. We create opportunities, and we are building linkages and partnerships, both locally and abroad. A couple of months ago, we had a visit from engineers from Jordan and Denmark, and they expressed a lot of interest in building partnerships and doing joint venture for infrastructure. And even when we do not have money and we have the ideas, getting financial in terms of designing EPCF, engineer, procure, construct, and finance projects that are going to address infrastructure needs of this country. Very important is that we're also looking for opportunities for engineers across the board. We have created a branch in the US and Canada, and we want to create more branches across in Europe, in Australia, so that we have engineers who are Kenyans based there, feeling home, and they can continue bringing their ideas, knowledge, and expertise to this country. They can engage us, because we have seen Kenyan engineers working with Boeing, working with top grader in bodies in the world, multinationals, and we want them to share ideas with us so that we can continue strengthening and building a local capacity. So yes, the future, I can tell you, is bright, and that's why I've said we want to leap into the future. We don't want to crawl. We want to leap into the future. Yeah.
Up to the future. You mentioned something, and it reminds me some of the issues, the key issues you've seen around. You talked about infrastructure, collapsing buildings.
Yes.
We've seen roads being done, and within a very short period of time, you have the potholes. So in such a scenario of roads and building, who is at fault? Is it the engineer, or there are some people trying to use a shortcut, avoiding the engineer, and then they end up, having shoddy work and something that can be dangerous, because when you have potholes, chances of having accidents, is very high, because you'll hear a story of, there's a border or this car trying to avoid the pothole and then hits a pedestrian there, or a collapsed building. Yeah, engineer.
My quick response is that collapse of buildings and roads that have a problem here, there, generally infrastructure that has a problem, is emblematic of a failed society, much more than it is a failure by engineers. Why do I say so? If you are a developer, we have engineers who are qualified, who are experienced, who are knowledgeable. If you engage them, they will design your building, and engineers design for safety, functionality, economy, sustainability. And if you engage a qualified licensed engineer, your building will not collapse. Now, the problem comes in when you do not want to engage that engineer because you want to cut corners. The problem comes...
reduce the cost, which will
reduce
in the long term it will be costly.
Imagine you have the building, it has been built, a few floors, it comes down, you lose all that. So eventually you don't save money by not engaging engineers. So we are saying it's actually emblematic of societal problem where you do not want to engage the professional engineer for your building. And we have addressed this as IEK and made a case for engage professional licensed engineers for your projects to avoid the costly mistake of your building collapsing. So it is much more about societal malaise than in failure of engineers. The other thing is you want to engage the engineer and probably you don't want to compensate them because we have engineer scale of fees, which sets minimum compensation for engineers. And so that means if you cannot compensate the engineer, then the engineer will probably not be able to give you professional services, and they will keep off from your project. So I'm saying there is that bit which is a societal malaise. Now, you will find here and there are challenges. Yes, I will agree. But by and large, if you engage a professional licensed engineer, you are not going to have these kind of problems. And we're also building capacity of our members so that we have continuous development, and so that those challenges that come, sometimes from political interference, you have approvals done through counties in a procedural manner. Counties do not want to retain services of professional engineers to approve development. So you want to consider development as basically revenue generating means, and you're saying that is not the right way to go about it. You need to engage the services of professional engineers at the county level to check the designs that are submitted for approval. And the approval process need to change from being revenue collection process to a process which adds value. Because when you have a professional engineer looking at those drawings, then you add value to the process. They will be able to look at the drawings and design and give comments to the designer. And so I will be categorical by saying it is not necessarily failure of engineers that we have this infrastructure problem. It is actually a societal malaise, because you do not want to retain the services of the right engineer and the right professional. And this is interesting. When you go to the hospital, really you want to be treated by a qualified doctor. You don't want a quack. So in the same standard that we give when we go to the hospital, we need to ask the professional engineer, services of professional engineer, and not really to go for quacks. And of course, we are working within the regulatory framework to make sure that quacks are weeded out, and the society gets the right professionals who are engineers and who are licensed to practice. Yeah,
absolutely. So in terms of you touched about the quacks. In case right now a building comes down, unfortunately, do you do the board of engineers try to check who was the engineer, and maybe try and distance themselves, the problem was not about engineering, maybe someone just picked a friend and then design, draw some funny things and put up a building.
Stanley, a very good question. Stanley, I'm a practicing structural engineer, and I've been in this field for now over 15 years. Our problem is when the developer wants to cut corners, he wants to bribe into getting approvals. He just wants the services of the engineer to provide his license for the approval to be granted. After that, he doesn't want to engage the engineer any further. That is where the problem is. However, in the few instances where our engineers and our members are involved and there has been a catastrophic failure, the board, Engineers Board of Kenya, has carried out investigations. Some engineers who are found culpable, they have received warning letters, others suspension, others, of course, they are found not guilty, because sometimes, and mostly, it is a developer who does not want to retain the service of the engineer during the implementation phase. Because the engineer needs not only to design and help you to get the building approval, you need to retain him so that he ensures quality assurance and quality control of the steel works, the concrete works is achieved. So that at the end of the tunnel, when the building now has been completed, then you apply to the county to issue what you call certificate of occupation as evidence that you went through the right processes, the necessary QA and QC, quality control and quality assurance was followed to the letter. And then what you are getting is actually works that were supervised by a licensed professional. So the way I look at this is that we really have to get better at this, and we must, and we have been doing this, reaching out to the community, reaching out to the society. You can actually get to the Engineers Board of Kenya website to establish if the engineer you're dealing with is a quack or registered, because the website is there. You can search their name, you can search their registration number. But most importantly, this has to come from the society. They must be keen and deliberately engage the services of engineers. Because again, engineers go to the university, 5 years, they spend 3 years to get registered, so those are 8 years. By the time you are meeting them, this is a person who has invested in their career. So really you need to compensate them for their services.
Oh, thank you so much, engineer. And what is your appeal to the government of the day, in terms of, on behalf, maybe, perhaps in a few days will be the president. What is your appeal to the current regime or the current government?
This is my message. We are the engineers, we are solution providers. We do not want to come begging. We are providing solutions. We are telling you, for you to grow in manufacturing, you need to do this and that and that. We are going to be partners in implementing infrastructure that is good for the economy, in economic growth, in creating employment. We are saying involve Kenyan engineers in rolling out infrastructure projects. We are competent, we are capable, we are qualified. We have situations where we have seen projects rolled out, and because of financing agreements, the opportunities are not open for Kenyan engineers. We want to remind the authorities that we have laws. PPADA, Public Procurement Asset Disposal Act, provides 40% local content, for example. It provides for citizen contractor and local contractor. It provides provisions for 30% special groups like women and people living with disability. It's very good. We respect these laws. And we create opportunities for citizens. We are appealing to the authorities that every time we are doing a project, create a platform whereby we are going to train our engineers. We are going to attach engineering students. We are going to engage graduate engineers so that they can learn, so that we will not do the same project again and we look for to the foreign countries to get the expertise. We can build our local expertise. And studying how other countries have grown, whether China, whether India and all that, they fostered an environment where they built the local capacity. And we are encouraging authorities to make sure that we invest in local capacity. Let us invest in ensuring that we have the local resources. We train our engineers. You will appreciate in the 60s, Tom Mboya sent Kenyans across the globe just so that they can be trained and come back to build our economy. And so I do hope we will be keen to make sure that these infrastructure projects, they are done by Kenyans for Kenyans. Because that way then we will grow our economy, we will not continue importing skill sets from foreign countries. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much, Engineer, for your time, for finding time to come and speak with us on this thing about engineering, because maybe some people didn't know or didn't have that knowledge about engineering. And since we are heading to the elections on March 21st, that camera, what could be your message to all the engineers in Kenya?
Yeah.
It's your time now, engineer.
Thank you very much, colleagues engineers. We have been your leader since 2018 when you elected me as an ordinary council member. I've been responsible for delivery of 2 strategic plans, 2019 to 2023, 2024 to 2029. And I have chaired a task force on unified scheme of service for engineers. I have revolutionized communication to you members through our weekly newsletters. I am a transformative leader because you can see the results when I have served you as an ordinary council member and the honorary secretary. Now I'm requesting for you to vote for me as your next president, and my running call is that we are going to leap into the future. We are going to provide the necessary leadership to transform the area of our practice. We are going to create an enabling environment for empowerment of our members, and we are going to pursue aggressive advocacy for our interest, and we are going to build lasting partnerships. So you have tested leadership. I have the strength, I have the intention, I have the ideas, the focus, and the drive to be your next IK president. Please vote for me on 21st March so that we can transform our practice in this country. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Engineer Shammah Kiteme, and I hope the next time you'll be here as a full president.
Thank you very much.
Wish you good luck.
Yeah, with member support,
yeah,
it will happen.
Thank you so much and go for it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Unaona jitapkala jini tukini watan agabartana tanaga ba ngalalet meeting bata engineer eno liba studio and liba KASS TV. Kiwek sei en KASS arta an nematanga destan KASS MASHINANI.